Welcome back to What's Next Wall Street. I'm Georgia Alfredas.
Hey there, and I'm Dave Mathews, and welcome to the podcast where we explore the intersection of finance, technology, artificial intelligence, and consumer trends. Each week, we bring you insights from industry leaders, analysts, and innovators who are shaping our future.
That's right. And this week, we're going to discuss how Walmart's latest acquisition could affect your investment portfolio. You can email us at wnshow@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Plus, you can watch all the shenanigans on our YouTube channel, WNW Show. So make sure you subscribe, hit that alert button so that you're notified as soon as new episodes drop.
Social media accounts are showing an uptick in the number of people already returning their brand new Apple Vision Pro mixed reality headsets. What? Now, comfort is among the top reasons for returning the $3,500 tech, with people saying it gave them headaches and motion sickness. I mean, I walked with that thing for like 10 blocks with it on my head, and it did give me a little motion sickness.
You said you were getting a headache.
This nerd over here.
You remember you said you had to pull it off your head. Was it tight?
My stomach, it made my stomach a little nauseous.
Really?
And the other thing, Georgia, the fact there were no real apps for it, it wasn't able to multitask on a Mac when it was tethered to it. And think about it, 3,500 back in the wallet? Heck yeah, I want that. But tune into the middle of the show for a deep dive in the Vision Pro versus Quest Pro, which is Zucky's version of it. And Zuck did a review of the product too, so we'll talk about that later in the show.
All right, I can't wait to see which is better. So some owners of Tesla's new stainless steel Cybertruck are already complaining about stains on the body of the vehicle. Owners describe the stains as orange rust marks and or corrosion. A man in Northern California claims he picked up his shiny new Cybertruck and drove it in the rain, and within 2 days, little tiny orange specks showed up on the shell of the truck, requiring him to actually buff them out. Now, the Tesla Cybertruck manual confirms that the body of the truck is susceptible to corrosive substances like grease, oil, tree resin, and dead insects, and those should be washed off quickly to prevent corrosion. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Your car gets all of these things. In addition, road salt, exposure to moisture and humidity in coastal environments can accelerate the rusting process. Wait, so I can't have this truck if I live somewhere near water? What?
Well, there's always, water from the oceans is worse too, because think about the elements that are near the salt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you bought the DeLorean, the last stainless steel car, the DeLorean came with a stainless steel polishing kit. So this isn't new. And think about if you have a stainless steel refrigerator in your house, those little chitlins, the little rugrats that put all the sticky stuff on it. I'm sure you probably don't have rust because you don't have continuous water. But, Georgia, these electric cars, they don't put out the toxins from the exhaust, and therefore they're generally less prone to corrosion due to the absence of the internal combustion engine. However, Tesla's use of this aluminum, and even my old Model 3's aluminum body, and the new custom alloy steel body panels used on the Cybertruck, it's raised concerns about long-term durability, right? If you have an aluminum car, it's more susceptible to door dings. Now, Tesla acknowledged the rust issue and improved its paint process, adding undercoating and extending its warranty on rust to 12 years for vehicles manufactured after 2019. So stainless is always going to be a little bit of a pain to maintain. And if you get in a car crash with a body shop, you can't repair stainless like you can with Bondo and pulling dents out and sanding. No, you have to put a new panel on. So if you think about the long-term effect with stainless steel, even back in the DeLorean days, a lot of people painted their DeLoreans. And now you can get a wrap, and a lot of people are wrapping their Cybertrucks, which you can kind of see that on the instance.
Smart.
But yeah. Hey, speaking of Teslas, though, did you see the story about T Swift?
Okay, Dave, I'm going to take the bait because surely you have some way to tie this Taylor Swift story into the stock market, technology, consumer trending, investing somewhere. Well, give it to me.
Oh, yes, I am. So the rideshare industry has been on a roller coaster ride in recent years, with the COVID-19 pandemic causing a sharp decline in demand for rides. However, the industry has since rebounded, and Lyft, one of the largest rideshare companies in the U.S., is now reporting strong financial results. That's after they fired a bunch of people. Lyft's bottom line was boosted thanks to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Do you see the tie there?
I get
Traffic to and from stadiums and hotels was significantly up when the pop star was in town, anywhere from 25 to 60%. Now, the
60.
average fare for Lyft rides in those cities also increased by 15%. So, I was at Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and I arbitrage between Lyft and Uber. And a lot of times they're both so busy that I have to like fire off a car request on both of them and see which one comes in. Because they just keep saying like, it'll be here in 10 minutes. It'll be here in 4 minutes. It'll be here in 3 minutes.
Right.
We're connecting with you with your driver. And then it takes forever.
30 minutes later.
Yeah, right. So I bet those Lifties became Swifties once they earned an average of 24% more per hour when Tay was in town. That's the drivers, by the way.
Okay. I see how you did that, but I'm not going to let you call Lyft drivers Lifties. I can't do it. It's too much. In other news, the TV streaming platform Fubo is suing Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery in response to their planned joint streaming service. Now, the lawsuit claims the three companies have a long-running pattern of engaging in anti-competitive practices. Fubo offers sports-focused packages in live TV channels and says Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers creating a combined sports streaming service is going to eliminate competition in the market. And on top of that, Vizio is being bought by, of all places, Walmart for $2.3 billion because they wanted their streaming service and content rights. So Walmart sells TVs currently under their own brand or on brand, which competes in the low-cost flat screen market with Vizio. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
And as if we don't talk about Elon Musk enough, here's more. In Elon news, Neuralink's first brain implant patient can control a computer mouse simply by thinking. Well, that's the claim Musk made in an X Spaces event recently. Musk said the patient seems to have made a full recovery. Seems? Really, Elon?
I mean, what does that mean, seems? Like, is he having like blackouts? I want to know what, I need details.
The neurotechnology company aims to eventually allow people with paralysis to regain motor function, and Musk has said that he hopes the implants could also help with diseases like Alzheimer and Parkinson's as well. Super cool technology, but it literally takes needles and electrodes and pops them into your brain in between heartbeats, because when your heart beats, there's swelling of that tissue. And I met some of the people that worked on this project in San Francisco, and it's so cool.
Listen, it's so cool, but again,
it's not going in my brain though.
Exactly. I mean, I understand. I'm so glad they have something that can help with these diseases, these debilitating diseases. But guess what? We're going to have robots that are people. Okay. I just saw Dune. I went to the press screening of Dune. And
Dune 2.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So good. Anyway, I just feel like it's, we're just making people computers. It's going to happen sooner than we think, obviously. This pro tip is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. You know what sets successful day traders apart? It's not just about following trading procedures and systems like robots, like we're talking about. Successful traders have a secret weapon up their sleeves. Their kryptonite is this: staying on top of stock market news and key events, from Fed interest rate decisions to all those fancy economic indicators and happenings. They're always in the know. Why? Because these things have a huge impact on stock prices, peeps. Imagine having an intuitive guide that assists in predicting market patterns and making intelligent trading choices. Stay in the know so you're in the dough. I like that, Options Players. I'm with it.
This is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Comment on our YouTube page. We love those. Or email us at WNWshow@gmail.com.
Yes, and like Dave said, you can post your questions or comments on our YouTube page at What's Next Wall Street Show. Just like Junie 2816 did. Junie wrote, "I think I'll stay with my dumb home for a while longer. Matter sounds like just another something I don't need. Good show though. Greg is so laid back compared to spending time with him on his live stream. His funny side is somewhat muted on live video. Thanks for your comment, Junie." So Junie's talking about the Matter High Tech, which you talked about last week, Dave. And of course, what I want to know though, it's supposedly this easy to install device that Dave says is easy to install.
Yeah, it's for your smart home. Yeah, we heard it fail miserably when I asked what the temperature was in my condo. Well, whatever.
Yeah, so if you missed it, go back and check it out. Meanwhile, Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com. Greg is usually on his best behavior here, but I want to hear more about this crazy Greg and his live stream. Greg, please do explain to everybody what the live stream is, how people can get on it, and are you like dancing on tables with your underwear on?
Is this OnlyFans?
Yeah, what's
it's
up?
not only fans or only dads or only traders or whatever like that for sure. No, I mean, it is for about an hour and a half. I only trade for about $2 or 2 hours a day. Really 30
I was
minutes
going
to
to say
just
$2 a day. You can do a little better.
That's what I'm doing.
About 30 minutes investing, and then I spend about 90 minutes just scalping, essentially. So that's basically what we're looking to do, or that's my way. I don't care how they do it, but when I do it, I'm usually in and out under 6 minutes. That's just historically, when I look at all my trades, anything I hold over 6 minutes, my odds go way down and I don't make as much per dollar. So that's why it's 6 minutes for me. Might be different for you. But I like no stress. So a lot of times we're waiting for trades to develop because we're not just like, oh, here or there. We have to wait for the setup. So we got a lot of time to kill. So, we just BS about whatever. So just
I'm getting in on this live trading.
On who's there.
thing.
I guess we have plenty of different personalities. So you could get.
Okay, how do you get in? What do you do? What do you do to get in there?
Just come over to OptionPlayers.com and just I would first say just come to OptionPlayers.com and then see how we're running and everything, and then you could take some of the free courses. And if it's a place you want to say, then you just let us know you want to join the live, and then come on in. That's about it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
So Jason in Arizona also has a question for Greg. Jason asks, why would Walmart acquire Vizio, and how will this affect the stock in due time?
Well, when they're not just buying TVs. That's not what they're buying. They're buying ads. All right. So when you look at all these Samsungs and all this stuff, and you have this free streaming, all these people that they put their own ads in there, right? I have the same, I believe, Samsungs, and I went out and bought all new TVs because I like the Samsung. I guess
it's UX.
Whatever it's using, right? I like it how it's free and this, but I wanted all my TVs to be the same. So I just went and bought them all, the same ones. That's the same way. So now it's all this weird commercials in the background, and it's their commercial. So now it's going to be Walmart is going to be able to put their ads on your TV. So when you're streaming something on there, it might be a pop-up. Now you might think, oh, that's it. But I look further down the road, like the Internet of Things, right? So you're talking about connecting to your home or all your smart homes. So now later, that TV that's showing the ad, you're gonna be able to select that, purchase it directly from that TV, kick it over to whatever else you got, and then it show up in your doorstep. So that's kind of the thing. They're just basically making their own little smart home hub entry, and that's I think what they're going for. I don't think they're going for the TVs because they have OWN or whatever it is, ONN. That's Walmart, right? I think they're going after the 18 million or whatever active users. 80 million people use one of these TVs, but 18 actively use the streaming service. So that is what they're going after. They're not really going after the TVs. So they're just going after the user base.
We talked about Vizio in the past, where there were some privacy issues with Vizio TVs because they were monitoring what you were watching and sending that back. And remember, if you have a low-cost device like an ON TV or a Vizio streaming stick or a Vizio TV, the reason why these things are cheap is because they're probably scraping some data on you, just like Facebook is data mining on you as well. So
it doesn't matter if they're cheap or they're more expensive. You got an Apple TV, it's still in your data if you don't have it deselected. No matter what it is, they're taking your data. If you're connected to the internet or they're streaming something free to you, they are taking your data and they're selling it. I don't care who it is. Yeah.
And there are opt-out versions of menu items that you can find in these devices. But even Google's hit with lawsuits that we talked about in prior shows, where if you're in incognito mode, Google was still tracking that data because, look, it's an IP address. It goes back to you. As soon as you get out of incognito mode and go to Google Mail, they know what account is on that IP address. So you can't hide from the digital world. Again, if you want me to do a series on how you can escape reality, the digital world, and go backwards, then we'll do this on a future show.
Okay, seriously, I do.
All right, we'll get on that, Georgia. All right, Greg, thank you. If you've got questions, we've got answers, just like Radio Shack, which, by the way, I went to a Radio Shack store in Alaska yesterday. It was
Where?
So funny.
They still have a Radio Shack store?
They still have a Radio Shack.
Aww.
So I'll post it to my Instas and Twitter. You can see a picture of me at Radio Shack. So if you want to have some questions answered, just email greg@optionsplayers.com. And of course, you can hit us up at wnwshow@gmail.com or post your questions and comments on our social media with the little @ What's Next Wall Street. You can find us there. All right, we talked about how the Apple Vision Pro was returned by many, many, many early adopters who were typically Apple enthusiasts. And even Zuck did a mini review and said, his headset's not only better, but cheaper as well. Humble brag much there, Zucky? Now, I think Apple wasn't about to let Zuckerberg get ahead of them in the world of the next computing screen. Now, think about it. Apple has a screen for just about every part of your body. But let's talk about why Apple may have flubbed with the ones for your head. Was it a lack of apps? Was it a low utility compared to a high price that matched that of a laptop? Or maybe it was the lack of multitasking when users were Mac mirroring. Maybe it was too heavy for your face with all that glass and the 3 screens, right? One screen for left eye, one screen for right eye, and then the screen on your forehead that you could look into from being a guest, which was so weird. So look, I borrowed one. I thought it was a cool product, but it was yet another version 1 device that I wasn't going to buy. And I'm an early adopter. Think about it. Apple, the iPhone, when it debuted 2007, it was an $800 device subsidized to $500 and then later $400. And it didn't even have high-speed wireless, which at the time was called 3G. Remember those days? It only did
you had to
Edge.
have 3G.
Yeah, but the iPhone only did Edge, or so-called 2G data, which was extremely slow for browsing. Considering the BlackBerry back in the day was 3G, it had a keyboard, which the iPhone lacked as well. But that was the right decision for the day of Apple, right? They wanted to keep costs low on that first-gen product. But I, back then, wanted to test the Apple ecosystem for apps. So back then, I bought an iPod Touch, and I used that as a secondary mobile device. I was relying on Wi-Fi with that, but I could play with the platform and get used to the glass keyboard. I couldn't do calls, but apps were fine back then on the iPod Touch, or iPod Touch. But how about this? The iPad, I covered that on G4 TV back in the day. That was another flop when it debuted. The initial device didn't work with a whopping 90% of the websites out there because back then the web was mostly running on a technology called Flash. Even the YouTube website was Flash. Now, Steve Jobs hated how Flash ran on Macs, and even having once owned 20% of Adobe, the creators of Flash, he wrote a famous document in 2009 about how Flash was not open, how it consumed battery life because content needed to be decoded in software versus the then modern H.264 protocol, which Apple had hardware support from built into the device. Now, Google was owned by YouTube then, right? They were sold to Google. And they quickly made an iPhone app that used a protocol called RTSP for YouTube back in 2008. Now, in 2010, they converted most of the videos on the YouTube site to H.264 based upon the protocol's ability to compress video and the popularity of the iPhone, right? So Google followed that trend that Apple set. To bring this analogy to present day, Google didn't even announce a YouTube app for the Vision Pro, but they say it's on the roadmap. Now, you can watch YouTube in the browser on the Vision Pro, and you can download an app called Juno that was created by Christian Sillig, but that costs $4.99. And to that, I say, good to you, bro. You made an app, you made a little money on it. Maybe you'll get a job from the YouTube team for doing this thing. But there's something I didn't like about the YouTube experience inside of the Vision Pro.
What's that?
Even apps for that matter. So when you put on the Pro on your face, it's like a huge movie screen is right in front of you. It's like a billboard that's 6 feet outside of your vision zone. And unlike Zuck's eyewear or any other VR goggles where you use a mouse or kind of a laser beam that meets Luke Skywalker in order to control them, the Apple's interface is different. You dart your eyes around the screen like a liar, and that's not easy. See, if you're looking at a video in the window, or a web browser, you want to scroll, pause, or fast forward, you can't multitask, right? Think about with a mouse. You automatically have this human machine muscle memory, and you can move things on your mouse, and then you don't break your vision of the screen. But with Apple, you have to dart your eyes around to control the interface. Now, at first, it's super cool because like the glasses know what you're looking at. But if you want to pause or scroll or fast forward, you can't multitask because your eyes can't be 2 places at once. Now with Apple, you need to move your eyes from the screen to the action bar, look at the bar, and then click with your fingers. So it's super cool. It's magical. But with some apps, you have to move your eyes from the bottom of the screen to the left, corner, edge, whatever. And that just interrupts the content viewing and disrupts what your own body's multitasking could be if you had a mouse or a virtual laser pointer. But this is nitpicky user experience. Let's go back to why so many returns. In the past, with high-end products that distribute to a new market, like with a wearable VR technology, those are typically distributed through an influencer program. Now, Google Glass did this with a reservation system. You'd go in, you'd get fitted, and you'd come back with a device that, you typically would get beaten up if you wore into bars. Apple opened up this product to everyone. And what that meant is anyone could buy it. And what's happening now is those early adopters that are like thinking it was a cool device, they're the ones that returned it. I have one friend that's not a developer. He returned all the accessories, which, by the way, accessories could be about $1,200 for this thing by the time you get the $300 case and the extra battery and whatnot. Yeah, can you imagine that? So he returned all the accessories, but kept the headset because he wants to test the new apps that'll be coming up for the platform. So for me, I borrowed one from a friend. I'm super thankful that I got to play with it and experience it. There is a lot of potential here. But for $3,500 with a laptop, you know what you're getting, right? A laptop will do anything. And the Apple Vision Pro did not do everything and anything. And I think a V2 device is going to be a lot lighter. Maybe it doesn't have that third screen on the outside of the glass. It's going to have better battery life. Maybe they'll put the battery inside of it. One of the plugs that Zuck said about this is the Apple device has a cord with a battery that goes into your pocket. And even when I took off a jacket, the cord was getting tangled in the jacket. Now, the good news, it's not like MagSafe. It's bolted on, so it doesn't like rip out when you're wearing it. But like, I'm like, what am I doing with this cord? So I had to play this like fishing game to fish the battery pack out of my pocket. But anyway, I'm going to pause on it. I'm not going to buy one, but version 2, I'm excited about. But still, we as humans, we want to be connected with people visually. And Apple put eyes on the outside glass so they could see your eyes. But it's just a visual representation of your eyes, right? It's
That's
just
weird.
It's an emoji. And when you did video conferencing calls with FaceTime on the thing, it'd be like a Botoxed version of you. So it would be a likeness of you.
Even more so than the one I have in my head right now.
I was wondering if you were going to go there. So the Vision Pro as a 1.0 device is really just an Apple statement piece because they didn't want Zuck taking all the glory when he did the Oculus and the Quest devices. So Mark said, look, if you want to buy our devices, they're only $499, and the high-end device from Meta is $999, and they go on sale for like $10-20 off. So spend the $1,000 if you want to go high-end. Skip the $3,500 from Apple. I'm the gadget guy, but let's see what version 2 looks for, because version 2 of the iPad was awesome. Version 2 of the Apple Watch, so much better. And it just takes a little while of Apple playing and figuring out the hardware and software and what really resonates with users. But the Vision Quest Pro isn't quite there yet with that value to cost ratio.
So I feel like I'm your average everyday consumer. That's average, Dave, not basic. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a pet owner, homeowner, all the things. And I am the primary consumer of everyday items in my home. So the places I frequent at least twice a week are Target, Whole Foods, Amazon.com. My husband is just the opposite. He lives at Home Depot and Walmart. It's not a Saturday morning if I'm not like, the kids are like, where's dad? You know where dad is. He's at Home Depot. Walmart is in the news these days because, as we talked about earlier, it's buying TV maker Vizio for $2.3 billion. Now, Walmart believes it can add revenue by offering brands the chance to advertise on Vizio TVs. Vizio's operating system, SmartCast, as Greg said, has 18 million active accounts. So I have this question for you, Greg. Here's what I want to know. Should I be making some investment moves with Vizio and Walmart, or is it too late? Because I don't really do Walmart. I do Target because I like to invest in places that I go and that I frequent and that I have some kind of attachment to. Listen, Target can never go out of business because I'm there every day. I said the same thing though about Peloton and the Mirror. So there's that. Yeah, same. Radio Shack. Toys R Us. I mean, not Toys R Us. Yeah, Toys R Us.
Toys R Us,
anyway,
yeah.
JCPenney. I can go on and on. Anyway, Greg, am I too late to get in on Walmart or even Vizio, or should I even try?
I would say Target can never go out of business because it can. Walmart and Amazon have basically put anyone and everyone out of business they want to. And it might be 20 years down the road, but we'll see how Target works out. But it's such a small. You're looking at a $2.3 billion company, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of money. But this is Walmart, okay? Like Walmart sells probably. This is a joke, but about probably $2 billion worth of Hershey chocolate bars a year.
And that's just to Steve on Valentine's
Yeah,
Day. So that's just to my husband.
Yes, I think it'd be good, but like I said, it's going to be more about the indirect money they bring from their advertisement and everything there. So really what I think they're really trying to do is to get more of the direct consumer sales from their warehouses rather than the actual retail. So they don't lose out on that as everyone else steps up their games with the smart homes and all that. And that'll bypass most Walmart. So they basically want to make their own infrastructure. So you buy their stuff on that. Now, whether or not you should buy it, it's Walmart. It's more of time in the market rather than timing the market with Walmart because it's not going anywhere, right? It's going to follow the retail trend. For me, I do trade Walmart. I entered Walmart, it was a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, it's going to do good, and it just kept going down. It was incredible. But after about 8 months, I was back profitable. But with Walmart, you normally see what we call pullbacks, right? So the market pulls back. Walmart does that too. And I believe on average, we discussed this last month in my live. I think Walmart pulls back about 10% on average every year. So you can, if you wanted to time it, that's when it is. Once you see it pull back, say Walmart was at 180 and it pulls back $18, you can buy it right there. Or you can just buy it and apply some form of option strategy to make a little bit more money off of it when it's up high. But yeah, I mean, it's an investment. It's a staple. I'm not saying you should put all your money into Walmart, but if you buy S&P 500s or any other things like that, you got a lot of Walmart in there anyway. So I think it's a good time to buy it. I just don't think this merger is going to really make a difference in the short term that you'll ever notice. I think it's more long term to stay relevant.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, good to know. Listen, remember, if you've got questions, we can try to help you answer them, and we would love to hear from you. So email us at wndwshow@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street.
If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, remember you can watch episodes of Greg talking and George and I yapping our traps at WNW Show on YouTube. Just type that into the YouTube search box or continue listening wherever you get your damn podcasts.
That's right. Make sure you subscribe, hit that alert button so that you get current trending info as soon as it drops. I'm George Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews. We'll see you next time on What's Next Wall Street.